Looks like we've got most of our people here, so please come on in, take a seat so we can get things underway. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, local media representatives and the international media, welcome to the press conference of the America's Cup Preliminary Regatta Jeddah, presented by Neom. The America's Cup is the oldest trophy in international sport, dating way back to 1851. And I think we can all agree that this is a pretty impressive piece of silverware. And this week marks a historic occasion. For the first time in the Cup's 172-year history, we will be taking to the waters of the Red Sea. The stage is set for an absorbing and thrilling regatta where the teams look to stake their claim on a piece of America's Cup history. Firstly, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the city of Jeddah for such a warm welcome to your beautiful country. Our deepest gratitude as well goes out to the Ministry of Sport and the Saudi Sailing Federation for their vision and sheer will to stage such a huge event here in the Kingdom, which no doubt is going to inspire young girls and boys to get into the sport of sailing. Now, to tell us more about the vision of the sport of sailing here in Saudi Arabia, I'd like to welcome to the stage Samir Baghdadi, Chief Executive of the Saudi Sailing Federation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Samir, we are here. The America's Cup is on stage. The teams have been out sailing this week. It's been such a beautiful start to this event. How exciting is this? And can you tell me just about the vision that was involved to host this preliminary regatta here in Jeddah?
Well, this is obviously super exciting. No doubt this is in line with the Kingdom's vision of 2030. It contributes to increasing the number of athletes, the local athletes, and raising the awareness and their participation. More importantly, this is the first time in the America's Cup history of 172 years and the oldest trophy in international sport. It's the first time ever in its history that it comes to the Red Sea, and we're very, very excited to show everyone what the Red Sea has to offer for sailing.
And can I please ask as well, can you give us a similar answer in Arabic, if that's okay, please?
Of course. طبعا استضافة حدث سباق كأس أمريكا يساهم في تحقيق رؤية المملكة 2030 بزيادة قاعدة الممارسين الرياضيين ونشر الرياضة. طبعا مهم انه احنا نذكر انه في تاريخ كأس امريكا السباق اللي هو 172 عام، وهذا اقدم كأس في الرياضة الدولية. هذه اول مرة في تاريخي يحضر عندنا في البحر الاحمر، فاحنا متحمسين جدا انه نعرف ابطال العالم في الرياضات الشراعيه ما يقدمه البحر الاحمر من طقوس واجواء مناسبه للتنافس الشراعي.
Samir, can you just give us a sense, please, of just how important it is to have an event as big as the America's Cup here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, particularly in inspiring the next generation of young girls and boys to get into the sport of sailing, and who knows, perhaps one day we'll see them out competing on the Red Sea in an America's Cup.
Yeah. So I believe that to raise awareness, it's the best way you could do that is to showcase and do that by example. So having an event like the America's Cup that has the most advanced technology, the highest performing athletes is the best way to inspire the children what they can be, what they can aspire to be in sailing. We've also launched our first Discover Sailing program. It was a huge success. Over the span of 3 days, we had 300 children try sailing, and they really loved it. We're also starting to develop a performance pathway and introduce our local sailors, and we've qualified some of our local sailors to become coaches. So that will be, that will obviously help us develop a whole sporting plan. And that will help us aspire to hopefully qualify, have our nationals qualifying in the Olympics in the future, and also hopefully have a Saudi America's Cup team. That would be really cool.
Sounds great. And I can tell you the kids have had a really great week. And once again in Arabic, please.
Of course. استضافة حدث عالمي على هذا المستوى لا شك أنه يساهم في تفعيل الرياضة ويعتبر محفز لنشر الوعي وما يقدمه الرياضات الشراعية من فوائد يعود على المجتمع وعلى الفرد من فوائد صحية ومجتمعية وبيئية، حيث أن الرياضات الشراعية بطبيعة الحال هي رياضات صديقة للبيئة. أطلقنا أول برنامج اكتشف الإبحار وقدمناها خلال 3 أيام. 300 طالب جربوا الإبحار الشراعي وانبسطوا فيها جدا وكان ناجح جدا. طبعا نطمح أن يكون لدينا رياضيين يتأهلوا في الأولمبياد في المستقبل وطبعا يشاركوا في كأس أمريكا بإذن الله في المستقبل.
Shukran, Samir.
Thank you.
I think we can all agree that the platform is truly set for the next generation of young girls and boys to really enjoy the sport of sailing, but get into the sport of sailing. And I have no doubt we'll see them out on the Red Sea one day, perhaps in an America's Cup. Thank you very much for joining us on stage. I'd just like to say once again that we are immensely grateful to the Saudi Sailing Federation, but also to the Jeddah Yacht Club and Marina for providing such a great week and such fantastic world-class facilities. And we must also extend our deep gratitude to our global and local sponsors for their support, without which, of course, we wouldn't be able to put on such a magnificent event. Well, the stage truly is set for a fantastic week sailing out on the Red Sea. Let's take a look at what we can expect.
Gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary guy, let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Put him in a cage, never let out the.
The oldest trophy in all of international sport. The America's Cup.
I think that deserves a round of applause. How fantastic is that? I'm certainly excited, and I simply cannot wait to see these teams out on the Red Sea this week. And I know for the teams themselves, winning the preliminary regatta here in Jeddah will be a huge boost for them, their fans, going into the America's Cup in Barcelona next year. So racing this week will be held in the foiling AC40 yachts. These yachts were recently named as Boat of the Year by World Sailing. Of course, designed by Emirates Team New Zealand, this boat is strictly one design, meaning all the teams are out there sailing on exactly the same boat. So the results from the week, the team that will be lifting this trophy will come down to the teams, the sailors, and their seamanship out on the water. Now, these incredible boats, once we've used them in the preliminary regatta, will also be used as a development pathway to the America's Cup for women and youth sailors. They'll contest respectively the inaugural Pooch Women's America's Cup and the Youth America's Cup in Barcelona next year. It truly is a fantastic boat. Well, the moment we've all been waiting for, it's time to meet the teams. Today on stage, we're very delighted to be joined by the skippers from each of the 6 teams that will be contesting the America's Cup Preliminary Regatta Jeddah out on the Red Sea, presented by Neom. Now, please join me in welcoming the teams. From right to left, first up, Peter Burling, skipper of the defenders and holders of the America's Cup, Emirates Team New Zealand. Sir Ben Ainsley, team principal and skipper of the Challenger of Record, Ineos Britannia. Arno Sardafagas, skipper of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Ruggiero Tita, skipper of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Paul Goodison, skipper of New York Yacht Club American Magic. And Contan Delapierre, skipper of Orient Express Racing Team. Welcome to the stage, gentlemen, and welcome to Jeddah. Now, of course, the format for this week is for all 6 of these teams to be competing across 8 fleet races. Now, after those 8 races, the top 2 teams will go into a winner-takes-all match race final to crown the overall winner of the Jeddah event and lift that trophy to the right-hand side. So today, you're going to have the experience to watch the teams out practice racing. So after this, the teams will head out, get ready, and we'll see them out on the water. Now, the format for the press conference will be some opening questions from myself to each of the skippers, and then we'll open the floor to questions from you. Please wait for the microphone, raise your hand, and then state your name and organisation before asking your question, please. Alrighty, well, we'll kick things off with Peter Burling. Thanks, Pete. Pete, you're the skipper of the defenders of the America's Cup Emirates Team New Zealand. You sailed in America's Cup regattas all around the world, from Bermuda back down to New Zealand, all the way back to Spain. You've been everywhere. Can you tell us how important is it for the America's Cup to activate and capture a whole new audience here in the Middle East?
Yeah, well, I think sailing's an incredibly global sport. Obviously, a little bit before our time, it was the way everyone was connected between all the nations, and we're incredibly excited to be here. It was obviously an amazing regatta in Villanova, and I'm sure this weekend will be no different. And we're just incredibly excited to get out racing again in a new town, new place.
We'll just head down the line for these questions. So Ben Ainsley, I'll move it on to you next. Ben, a solid block of training since Villanova, where you've had a decent amount of kind of high-intensity sessions, I think you'd say, in Barcelona. Can you tell us, what have you been working on specifically, and how's that set you up for this week?
Yeah, look, firstly, a big thank you to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting us here. Really excited to get out on the Red Sea and race here for the first time. Yeah, regarding our result in Villanova was far from what we were looking for, but it just goes to show the intensity, the level of racing in these one-design boats. Certainly, we put a lot of effort into trying to figure out exactly why we were off the pace and what we can do about that, and analyse the performance of the other teams. I won't, could talk for hours about that, but needless to say, yeah, we've been focused hard on trying to up our game and get ourselves up in the running in some of these races.
Thanks, Ben. Well, I know you were the first team to arrive and sail here in Jeddah. You completed that 6-day training block, and then you came back early once again. You must absolutely love it here, but can you tell us what's been the experience and the welcoming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? How much is the team enjoying it here?
Yeah, the team did really enjoy to come here early. We took the advantage and the help of the Saudi Arabia to welcome us here early, and we've been welcomed with really open arm, and the condition that we find here sailing, the weather and the setup was incredible. So I hope we could take advantage of it as much as possible, and we'll see on the water if we did work well the last few weeks.
Thank you, Anna. Luna Rossa Parada Pirelli's Ruggiero, your background is in Olympic sailing in a foiling class, the NACRA 17. You're the defending Olympic champion in that class. Can you tell us how big is the step up from that Olympic class sailing into the pinnacle, the America's Cup, sailing against these gentlemen beside you?
Yeah, for sure, is a big step. I'm really happy to be here, to have the chance to compete with these guys. The intensity of the racing is really, really high, how we proved yesterday. But we are here for learning, basically. We don't have many hours as a team, but we are happy to be here and have the chance to race with these guys.
Thanks, We'll move on to Goody from Yacht Club American Magic. Paul Goodison, you won the first preliminary regatta in Villanova, a huge win for the team. Can you tell us what it would mean to go back-to-back and win here in Jeddah as well? What kind of momentum boost would that give American Magic?
It was a really successful event for us in Villanova, and I think just from a wider team perspective, it was incredible the boost it gave to everybody back at the base. There's over 100 guys working there day in, day out, pushing really hard for the 75 design, and just to show that all the worth's going towards something that's worth working for. And for us to do well here again would be another big boost for the team. So we're hoping we can carry on the the form we had at the last event and sail well this week.
Thanks, Paul. Gontan, we'll finish with you down the end, last by no means least. You were the sensations, arguably, in Villanova, winning that first race and then performing well throughout. Can you tell us how much confidence did that give you as a team, Orient Express Racing, to know that you're able to compete against these teams beside you? And how are you feeling going into this event here in Jeddah?
Yeah, in Villanova, it was pretty good feeling, to be honest. We just enjoyed the racing and the regatta, and winning this first race means a lot for new challenge as us. And I can feel the good energy that it brings into the team. So that was really nice. And yeah, we worked pretty hard to come here and improve our skills. I think we did pretty well with the simulators and the last sailing sessions. Just have to trust the process, the basics, and try to race against this unbelievable fleet.
Thank you, Gontan. Okay, we'll now open the floor to questions from the media. Just a reminder, please state your name and organisation, and also wait for a microphone. Just raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Thank you. Here we go.
Hi, Matt Sheehan, Planet Sail. Question, well, it could be for anybody, but I'll ask Ben. Ben, because you mentioned about this being the first time that we've been sailing on the Red Sea, and it doesn't happen very often in the America's Cup cycle that Grand Prix racing goes to a genuinely new venue. The opening day showed us some quite extraordinary conditions that I don't think anybody was really expecting. How significant is that? Does that raise the tempo here? Does that make it more interesting for all of the teams to race in conditions that you might not have expected and pushes you in other ways?
I guess there are two parts to answering that question. One is, I think, the investment in sports from Saudi Arabia, and we've seen a lot of sports coming to Saudi Arabia in recent times, and that, that cultural shift that sport can bring globally, and I think that's really exciting for Saudi Arabia and for sport in general, and it's great for the America's Cup to be here and be a part of that. In terms of on the water, yeah, I mean, it's going to be different conditions to what we saw in Villanova, most likely. Certainly yesterday and the day before, we saw some pretty strong winds and some big waves, which was a challenge for all of the teams. Whether we'll see that stronger wind for the competition, you're probably not looking at the long-range forecast, but still a different range of conditions. I think it's showing here in Jeddah. It's a fantastic race course, and hopefully this is just the start of many more competitions, sailing competitions coming to Saudi Arabia and this region of the world in the future.
Shirley Robertson, ACTV. A question for Paul Goodison. We can visibly see that American Magic has a newfound swagger. What have you come here to do? What would be a result for your team here in Jeddah?
We took a lot of confidence from the last regatta in Villanova. We'd obviously spent a lot of time in the AC40s working up to that regatta and training very hard. We kind of switched the focus the last month over to the AC75, and we've really been working on the big boat, developing the big boat, sailing the big boat. So we probably aren't as sharp as we were going into Villanova, but I think the team still expects to do well, and we're desperately trying to repeat our performance of Villanova.
Just one more question to Arno. Arno, your team has made a massive investment in this event. You've been here for a month. You've brought in Dean Barker, Phil Robertson, big names to help you get up to speed here. What is the result for Lingy Red Bull Racing here in Jeddah?
Yeah, the team will really put everything in place to raise the game of the racing crew. And I mean, as everyone here sitting here, I think we're all looking for one thing. It's we are here to win the regatta. We needed to bring a really experienced sailor, and we look around on the planet, and that was the pick, Dean, Phil, and Jason. And they are the one that can really help us to raise our game and push hard to the limit. And I think they do it a really good job on the water and on shore as well.
Any further questions?
Saleh Farid from Arab News. My question to LNI Red Bull team, being away from racing for a long time, do you think this will hold you back and keep your performance down?
Yes, to be away from racing is always tricky. 1 year ago, we make a plan with the management and the team that we were going to focus mainly on catching up on the other team that did the previous Cup, sailing the 75 and developing the boat as a team all together. We did choose to put the racing on the side. We didn't have many opportunity as the other team on the Sail GP, for example. But we are focusing a lot in in-house racing. We are following every single race that these guys are doing, so we can really follow up. So for sure, it's at the moment we don't race as much as them, but I think next year it's what's gonna need to be really the important stuff. So I think we just need to wait next year and to see what we can bring.
Sorry, it's
it's
Shirley. Me again, Shirley Robertson, ACTV. A question for Rogero. My co-commentator Glenn Ashby said in commentary that it was like the kids had been given the keys to the Ferrari. How much expectation do you feel? The eyes of Italy, the sailing fans of Italy, are going to be watching you this weekend. How afraid are you?
To be honest, we are here without many expectation. We know, as I said earlier, we have really, really few hours on the boat. We are here just to enjoy racing and to do our best and to try to take out the best from this race.
But what about, sorry, I work with Shirley, Alec Wilkinson, ACTV, but there is, the expectations might be low, and Max Sirena has told us the expectations are low, but your own personal expectations and the pressure that you put on yourself must be quite high.
To be honest, not that much. I know I don't have so many hours on the boat. I'm here just to try to do my best. Probably have nothing to show and to prove, but just to be here, enjoy racing, and do my best.
I think we got time for one more question, probably, if anyone wishes.
Hello, good morning. This is Abdelhadi Mustadi from Ukad, the newspaper. My question for American Magic. Your team established, I think, 2017 with the goal to return the American Cup to America again. Now, after you won the first regatta, now you are here in Jeddah, different location, different environment. Do you think you are able to achieve that goal?
To take the America's Cup back to the New York Yacht Club is obviously a design race as well as a sailing race. So we're working very hard on the designs and the development of the AC75 ready for the racing next summer. But for a sailing team, we don't get the chance to race together in these sort of boats very often. So Villanova was very important for the team. And again, we'd like to repeat the success we had there here and take that forward to next year.
I've been told we got time for one more. If we got one more question, we can jump to that. Otherwise, we'll look to wrap things up. Anyone else? Yep, perfect.
Matt Sheehan again, Planet Sail. Quick question for Pete Burling. We always knew it was going to be quite intense, and there's been comments to that effect from the skippers here. Do you think the rest of the teams are all learning faster than feels comfortable for you?
We're sailing a one-design boat. We want the racing to be close, and I think that's what we saw at the last preliminary regatta in Villanova. The racing was incredibly close, and the long-range forecast is getting better by the day. So hopefully we can have some really close racing here. And as a sailor, you want to be tested by the best sailors in the world, and I think that's what we've got here this weekend. And for us as the defender, we're going out there with more of the aggressive mindset, really trying to maximise these opportunities to perform and improve as a group. And we're just looking forward to another chance to do that. Obviously, we're gutted not to get the final race and a shot at the Americans in the last event, and hopefully we can go one step better here.
We got one more. Thanks, Shirley.
Shirley Robertson again for Ben Ainsley. Ben, there was a lot of learning from the last event in Villanova for all the teams. What are we going to see here? How will that impact what the viewers see? And also for you talked about, just improving, but, we're used to seeing Ben Ainsley at the front of the fleet. What can we expect from Ineos Britannia here?
I expect the whole fleet to be closer, than Villanova. We saw, a couple of teams realistically had a fair old jump on the rest of the fleet. No disrespect to any teams here, but that's the reality. I expect it to be closer, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if we saw those two teams still at the front of the fleet, just for a number of different reasons. I guess for our team, it was a massive learning curve to come away from that. Like I said, there were a number of reasons behind our bad performance. I don't need to go into all of those right now, but it certainly was a wake-up call for us in terms of our analysis of our performance, those analysis tools. And, it is a one-design boat, but there's a huge amount of learning that will go into how, as sailors, we operate the AC-75. So as frustrating as it was for us, it may well have saved our campaign. It's as stark as that. So, I think these events have created a huge opportunity for all of the teams.
Well, thanks to all of our skippers. I think that draws to a close. We'll do one more. Thank you.
Rowan Hamdan from Saudi Press Agency. You had yesterday a practice race. How was it, and who won in that race?
Whoever won can probably answer that question.
Well, most of the teams actually took the day off yesterday. We've definitely come in here a little bit later. We've had a testing program in Auckland, so we're trying to maximise the time on the water. It was right at the upper end of conditions yesterday with quite bumpy, quite strong wind. Made it incredibly challenging to get the boat around the track. But first day of official practice today. So today will be that true marker of who's coming into here on form and who's going to go well this weekend. And everyone, I'm sure, will come out swinging for sure.
Well, thanks, teams. On that note, we better get them out and practice racing. Reminder, we can view that from here in the media centre. The teams will be heading out just after lunchtime. But before we go, thank you once again to the Ministry of Sport and the Saudi Sailing Federation. It's been such a warm welcome, and we've heard from the teams of how great it's been sailing out on the Red Sea.